Chairman, and I thank the panel for coming today and for your insight and how forest management in your local areas has impacted your local areas. And we've talked a lot, or you've talked a lot about a holistic approach. I think a couple of you referred to it as a triple bottom line. Mr. Crawford, you described that as a healthy environment, a strong social structure, and a robust economy. And Mr. Rigdon, you described, you talked about simultaneously sustaining economic, ecological, and cultural values. So I get the picture of a three-legged stool here where those three things work in harmony together in a holistic approach to managing your forest. We've also heard a lot of discussion about fire borrowing and multiple use designation. And to me, there seems to be a disconnect and a misconception that active management in some way is tied to a single or limited use. And the line of reasoning is that if we just had more money to fight fire and removed all other management activities, then forest would be healthier and better suited for multiple uses. So maybe to help clarify that, can any member of the panel give me an example where non-management outperforms active management in any single use or multiple use area, including better recreation, better water quality, better air quality, better wildlife habitat, better timber production, more biodiversity, or any other use you can think of? That's what I thought. So we know that active management is the best approach to a multiple use scenario in our forest where we get maximized benefit from our forest in all areas. And when we restrict a forest to a single use or non-management, we often find a not healthy forest, and it's counterproductive to the goals that we're striving for. Mr. Gibbs, you talked about the 2003 Healthy Forest Restoration Plan and the thinning projects around communities in your area. And you also spoke about fire borrowing and its devastating impacts on the Forest Service budget and potentially on your county budget there. Would you be in favor of policy that stopped fire borrowing and allowed funding and policy structure to implement landscape-wide fire-wise plans up to 15,000 acres?
Congressman, I'd have to see the details about that, but fire borrowing has had huge negative detrimental impacts to our economy, and fixing that challenge, I really hope you all work on that, but I'd have to see the details.
But we can show you the details. It's in the the Resilient Federal Forest Act that's now over in the Senate. We addressed those exact same two issues that seem to be a concern of yours in the bill. We stopped fire borrowing in the bill, and we also allowed landscape-wide management plans to create fire-wise areas, not particularly for timber harvesting or any use other than to make the forest more healthy, which will provide better multiple uses. You also said in your testimony that forests are harmed by the federal government's inability to take meaningful action on climate change. So do you believe carbon released into the atmosphere causes climate change?
I do.
Okay. Do you agree that burning forest release carbon into the atmosphere and growing healthy forests sequester carbon from the atmosphere?
I do.
So would it stand to reason that if we focused more on fire prevention, where we weren't burning our forest and releasing carbon into the atmosphere, and if we focus more on prevention and less on suppression as we do now, that would help alleviate your concern of more carbon into the atmosphere?
Congressman, I think you have to work on all the above. It's not just one particular area will solve all the challenges that we have. Proactive management is important, especially in our community, if it's in a community wildfire protection plan where you have, the environmental community, the timber industry, the energy providers, we're all speaking the same language. In my community, it's not us against them or whatever. We all try to be on the same page and to look for proactive management where appropriate, especially around where people live and around critical infrastructure where people, get their drinking water from and power lines. but we all try to be on the same page if possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you.